he wasn't necessarily thinking about working on thoughts and beliefs and past traumas. And weirdly, the past trauma had something to do with a kind of a child. But so it all just blew his mind in terms of what we were working on. But when he decided then, okay, I'm here now, let's just go with it, it was a dramatic change. And that was my first that was probably back in 2002, maybe 2003, something like that. And I was like, man, this is amazing. I want to do more of this. So prior to that, I was really focusing on the relationship coaching, because all the suicide stuff and the broken heart and my partner having an affair, yada, yada, yada. Those were the kind of clients I was attracting a lot. And then as soon as I put my focus on this, people were just coming from everywhere in terms of, oh my God, that's my fear. And, interesting things like there was a guy who, seriously, I actually thought he was pulling my leg at first. He came and he said, I'm terrified of public speaking in public, and I want to get ready for my daughter's, the father of the bride speech. I went, oh, how wonderful. And when is your daughter getting married? He went, oh, not for a while yet. And I said, oh, how old is she? At that point, she was something like 3 or 4 years old. He was already stressing out about the father of the bride speech. So we do a session, one day breakthrough session for him. About 6 months later, his son is having problems. So he comes along and does a session with me for a different reason. And then the following year, the daughter is having anxiety and panic attacks, having just gone to university. First time she'd really been away from home. So she came and did a breakthrough session. So I've worked my way through the whole family for different reasons. But he started with, he was already looking at his daughter, who was a baby pretty much, and was already terrified about having to do the father of the bride speech. So people come for, best man and all the rest of it, come for various reasons. This is one of my gorgeous, talented clients, Erica Brodnock of Charisma Kids. Some of you who are watching this may know her. And at the time I met Erica, she had been invited to do a TED talk, but was petrified. And so again, we did some breakthrough session work. She'd also, previous to that, done the photo reading workshop to get that sense of being able to take the data on board, get your brain to work more effectively. And so we worked on getting rid of that for the TED talk. We worked on this whole thing about how you bring the presentation to life. And she is now a brilliant, because we were also working on how she pitches and presents her business, etc. And any of you who have heard Erica speak or seen her live on Sky News, and there's a picture on my website. If you go to my website, the testimonials page, there's a screenshot of Erica on Sky News broadcasting live. If you've ever heard her speak, she is freaking amazing, fantastic, always the best person in the room. Always, hands down. So that's her with just one of the awards that she's won for her pitching, her presenting, her speaking. And when you see those pictures of people with the big checks, she's got a ton of those, and she has now spoken all over the world. So this stuff is real, and you can go from, oh my God, I've just got to get through it, to you can see the joy on that face. So she's an incredible speaker, and her business is amazing. This was someone who actually attended the photo reading workshop, but she booked the package where you can do the one-to-one Skype coaching sessions. And so the thing that she'd said to me, she worked for our Royal Bank of Scotland. I was going to say RBS, but you probably wouldn't know what I mean by that, but Royal Bank of Scotland. Worked in the IT department, so very male-dominated environment, and she felt completely intimidated. So she was having the experience of being in meetings, having fantastic ideas, not sharing those ideas, somebody else coming up with sometimes even a half-baked idea, and if it's like, oh yeah, that's brilliant, that's amazing, and now because I recognize the syndrome, because that was totally me as well. Once somebody's come up with the idea, even if it's not as good as yours, you can't now put your idea out, because it's going to sound like, well, you're just trying to one up them. And so she was always in that position, and also was not speaking up for herself at all. So she does the one-to-one Skype session. She goes back to work, and she sent me an email saying, Marilyn, I don't know what you've done to me. I've moved so far from where I was 2 months ago when I did the course, and I got so much more than just photo reading. Thank you, exclamation mark, because people were like, what happened to you? And she was confident, she was articulate. So it's wonderful, really wonderful to see what happens to people. And I worked with someone recently, again, we did a one-day breakthrough session. and we were going out somewhere, and she sent me, I read the message, I'm like, I bet she hasn't even clocked what she said. She sent me a message basically saying, sorry Marilyn, because she was presenting that day and used to be terrified, like hated it and would put it off, not do it, etc. She sent me a message very quickly. Hi Marilyn, sorry I'm running late. The audience wouldn't stop asking me questions. And I just read it, I'm like, we're there. Because when I look back at what she said she wanted to be able to do, she wanted to be able to not just speak and present, but also be happy to be in that place, to be in that space where she's just open to answering questions. And I think one of the reasons people don't like questions, it's random, it's unknown, you've got no idea what somebody's going to ask you. Whereas if you're just preparing a presentation, you can at least be in control of that. You know what you want to say, and you've got your slides, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that, and then you're going to run away. Questions are a whole different ball game, which is why we're going to do a segment on them. But I read her message and I just smiled, and I sent one back. I said, did you just read what you just said? That you're having so much fun on stage that you're running late for your social. That is just so cool. And I call that one the ripple effect, where you just notice what you notice, because it starts to ripple out in really, really fantastic, amazing, and often quite unexpected ways. So just incredible. So notice what you notice, see how the ripples of this just impact so many other areas of your life over and above the public speaking, because that is always what happens for people. So, watch this space for those of you who have signed up to join us.